Utah Jazz. How about Lauri Markkanen last night? The Utah Jazz get a big win. I thought it was an important win. 131-114. Lauri Markkanen has a career-high 49 points last night. And you saw some things out of Lauri that really felt good. You saw shot making. This wasn't just him dropping a bunch of threes. Lauri Markkanen's game in the mid-range, I think, is really underestimated and really undervalued. I feel like he absolutely played well in the mid-range. His mid-range jumper, I thought his finishing skill in the paint was really good. Now, obviously, the three-pointer looks fresh almost every time. But this is the version of Lauri Markkanen that we need. And, Jake, I guess my biggest question is this the top end? And how often will we see this from Markkanen?
Yeah, I mean, I think his top end is very reliant on the players around him. When you give Lauri time and space, he's going to torch whoever's guarding him. It just is what it is. But when I look at the Jazz, specifically last night, and it's been a theme all season, but just talking about last night, there were a ton of times where this game felt like a pickup game, where Lauri Markkanen was not prioritized, where you weren't running a lot of offensive sets, and you were just kind of going up and down the floor. And in our members-only Instagram group, we were talking about it all last night during the game. Like, man, these guys just are not playing transition defense, and then they're not running offensive sets. And it really is true. The difference, though, is that Lauri got it going early in the first quarter before the chaos really took over. So he had his rhythm, and he found his shot, and that's what allowed him to get to 49 points at the end of the day. So to me, what's his top end? Well, I think you saw something pretty close to it, but I think players, like if you take, your favorite player, you put them next to a two-way contract guy who's just fighting to be in the league versus putting him next to an all-star veteran who's 8 years into the league, your guy's obviously going to be better. And that's where I come down on Lauri. I think that Lauri Markkanen has a lot of upside potential still. I think that this guy could regularly be 30 points and above in the scoring column on any game, no matter who they're playing. But when you're playing good teams, you have to create the time and space on the floor. It's not just provided to you. And when it's not just provided by these bad teams like the Houston Rockets, Lauri often doesn't see the ball. Lauri often doesn't get as many opportunities as he did last night. That is where I think the development can come in. And unfortunately, that development's going to take time because they need to make changes to the roster for that to happen.
Yeah, I think the biggest question for me on Lauri Markkanen is how do you get the top end out of him every night? How do you make Lauri Markkanen a number one? That's my single biggest question. I know he's capable of 50 points. I know he's capable of 10 points. How am I going to get my guy to be 25 points, 8, 9 boards, 3, 4 dimes? Because that's what I need out of Lauri Markkanen. I need him to be a number one contributor. The problem is, I don't think he is. On this team, sure he is. On a championship caliber team, Lauri Markkanen's not a number one. How do you get him there? Because most of the people on this roster won't be here. Kelly Olynyk, we're watching the downside potential of Kelly Olynyk. We are watching the slide. But I'm serious. You're watching Kelly Olynyk.
Downside potential. I love that.
He's getting overexposed.
Yeah.
So you're watching Kelly Olynyk's performance go down. You're seeing a guy like Lauri Markkanen give you flash in the pan performances where last night he drops 49 points, a career high. And so, of course, it begs the question, how did the Utah Jazz get more out of Lauri Markkanen? The answer is run sets for him. Make the offense go through Lauri Markkanen, which we see on a regular basis does not happen.
Right.
But you watch a team last night that sputtered to close this game. Thankfully, there was a run in the last 3 minutes of the game for the Jazz, and they put this thing away. But it was in peril for a good part of the fourth quarter. Markkanen hit a couple of shots, and this team actually balled a little bit on the defensive end to put this game in the cooler. My question is, how do you get the top end? And I don't know that you can.
Yeah, I think they just need to get more organized as a team, if I'm being honest. Like, I think that Will Hardy really, and again, hear me clearly, I'm not saying that Will Hardy's a bad coach or he sucks. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying, though, is that Will Hardy really needs to kind of key in and focus in on organization on the floor. Too often when you watch these Jazz games, you get this sense of like, hey, we're all just running around on the floor. There's 10 guys just running around. That's what it feels like. It doesn't feel like, hey, Mike Conley's this floor general that is kind of herding the sheep and making sure that Ochai Agbaji is in the corner when he needs to be, or dude is here instead of there. Like, that's what I want to see. I'm okay if Mike is organizing and they're running sets and they're losing games. I'm okay with that because you're not a good team. You're not a team that's going to beat the best in the league or certainly the top half of the league on most nights. But what I'm not okay with is when it just feels like, oh yeah, we're just running around. We're just out here hooping. Like, Agbaji's trying to make 5 threes tonight, even though some of those shots aren't great shots. Like, you're looking at Jordan Clarkson turning it over. You're looking at, to your point, Kelly Olynyk looking like a complete asshat in the first half with all those air balls. Like, that's what I'm not okay with.
Yeah.
And I think that Will Hardy just has to focus in and do a little bit better of a job of organizing these guys and rewarding guys. Because frankly, one thing we need to talk about, like yesterday on the show, we talked about the trade impacts and everything going on. If you're a member of the group, you got exclusive information yesterday about a trade that we're going to talk about in a minute. It's funny that there's trade talk and all of a sudden THT is starting to get minutes. Anybody notice that last night?
Yeah. All of our Utah Jazz talk on the Monty Show presented by Quick Quack Car Wash. Make sure you get to Quick Quack Car Wash all across the state of Utah. And my friends, again, I will tell you, it's such a cool thing to go to Quick Quack and not have to deal with a computer or a tower that takes your credit card. Or it's really nice to have a human being walk up to your car, enter your license plate, you roll down your window. Hey, Monty, here's your dashboard wipe. How can we help you today? Like I said the other day when we came back from Tahoe, I said to him, hey, man, I need a Muddy Duck, which is a car wash where they give you a ton of extra water and a ton of extra soap because your car's extra dirty. Who hasn't had a day like that where your car is just trashed, bro? Go to Quick Quack Car Wash. Say, hey, I need a Muddy Duck. Hook it up. It's all good to go at Quick Quack Car Wash. The service is good. It's great for the kids because there's all kinds of colors and lights in the tunnel. Like, it's just a good experience. It's good to do business with good people. That's why Quick Quack Car Wash presents all of your Utah Jazz talk on the Monty Show. So when you hear about big trades, one of the trades we've talked a lot about on this show is, in fact, John Collins to the Utah Jazz. We know now that trade fell apart 10 days ago-ish because Danny Ainge wanted 2 number 1 picks. I think Danny realizes that was unrealistic and there was not a trade to be had with 2 number 1 picks. NBA sources told me yesterday that Danny Ainge has come off of that original request and would take a single number 1 pick and John Collins in return. And what this deal looks like is, again, I think Dario Saric is probably the best fit for a number 2 player in this trade coming to the Jazz. I think it is John Collins, Dario Saric, Phoenix's number 1 pick in this year's draft. And then you look at what's going out. I think you're going to see Malik Beasley and Jared Vanderbilt going out. I think Malik ends up in Atlanta. I think Jared Vanderbilt ends up in Phoenix. I think Jay Crowder ends up in Atlanta. And it's a matter of who that other guy is that ends up in Phoenix. And if I had to guess, I think there are a couple of interesting scenarios there to top off the salary fix on that. But my guess is that you're looking at the Utah Jazz getting another first-round pick, John Collins in the expiring contract of Dario Saric. And Jake, I don't know how you don't like this trade, and I think it shows that Danny Ainge is being pliable. He understands there is a necessity to make a trade for this club, and I think he's going to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's been so much talk about the Utah Jazz and VW and the draft and like where they're going to be. And what I'm here to tell you is if you look at draft capital and where the Utah Jazz are at, they have a lot of capital. The issue is that capital isn't like number 1 overall pick capital. It's not like top 5 pick in the NBA draft that you can leverage for a great player. So what Danny's going to wind up having to do here is he's going to have to make this type of a trade, a 3-team deal that is going to bring a player to this roster, a John Collins-esque, if not John Collins himself, that makes a big impact, and he's going to ask for a first-round pick in return for that. Once this 3-team deal is done, there will be another deal. It's going to happen, and that second deal is where I believe you're going to see Danny package several of these picks in a bigger, more valuable package. Basically, Danny's saying, hey, we've got all this capital, totally get that one on its own is not valuable, but here's 4 of them, let's say, and I want this in return. That's what I think you're going to see. And there is some potential, I think. I do think it's a viable option to try to trade up in the draft through all this draft capital. So Danny, that's what I was saying. I was tweeting about this yesterday. Danny has to make a real crucial decision here. You need to get this right. If you mess this up, you will not recover from this for several years. And that's why I think you're seeing Danny take his time.
Well, and you look at what's on the screen there, that's the NBA draft order. And I think, what I was told yesterday, the exact trade is that you're going to wind up sending out in this deal Malik Beasley, Jared Vanderbilt, and Talon Horton Tucker. Now, notice we talked about this in the group yesterday. If you're a member of the show, you already know about this. And again, I'm telling you guys, if you're not a member of the show, you're missing out on exclusive information that went out to our membership group first yesterday. And again, I'll put the link to be a member right there in the comments. But as we told our members exclusively yesterday, Talon Horton Tucker's a guy that's going to be included in this trade. Mm-hmm. And what do you know? He hadn't played in 2 weeks. And all of a sudden, who'd you see on the floor playing big minutes last night? Talon Horton Tucker, because you need to drive his value a little bit. And I think that's why you see him playing. But if they get Phoenix's first round pick, what does this do for the Jazz? Well, you look up and down this draft order, they own Utah's pick, or they own Minnesota's pick at number 11. You as a Jazz fan need to be rooting for the Minnesota Timberwolves to continue to suck. Because if they turn it around and they start winning more games and they start bumping up the standings, that's not good for that pick. But they would currently own the 11th pick. Then you would bump down to the 15th pick with Phoenix. I think that's another interesting team. How valuable is that pick? I also think that's why there's a little bit of onus on this deal now. Mm-hmm. I think Phoenix realizes if they're able to trade their first-round pick, that they would be able to get more value now than when Devin Booker returns. They make a trade. They don't trade that first-round pick, and all of a sudden that pick starts plummeting because now it's in the 20s because the Suns are going to start winning more games.
Right.
So I think the value of their draft pick will change. So you'd have Phoenix at 15, and then you look down at 23, you're probably taking Brooklyn's pick there as well, which, by the way, again, is not great because Brooklyn now has won 12 of 13 games. So what's that done to that Brooklyn pick? Just keeps driving that pick down because Brooklyn's now second in the East, I believe. Mm-hmm. So really what you're looking at here is your own pick at 13, that pick from Brooklyn, Phoenix, and then Minnesota, that's 4 picks in the first round for the Utah Jazz.
Yeah.
That is a huge deal.
Yeah,
that is a huge deal.
That's why I say, with all due respect to the folks in the VW camp, I just think that's not the route that they're taking, in my opinion. I agree. I think Danny I think saying that the Jazz are after VW, in my personal opinion, does disrespect to Danny Ainge's ability to operate and Danny Ainge's ability to put together the deals that he wants to put together, that he believes will start to mold and shape this organization into a championship organization. Danny Ainge, to me, is not just and I know this is obvious, but he's not just your run-of-the-mill guy. Like, Danny Ainge is a veteran in this game. Danny Ainge knows what he's doing, and Danny Ainge said himself he doesn't have time for some 7, 8 year, 9 year rebuild. That's not where he's at with it. So I'm telling you, when you're looking at 4 first-round picks in this year's draft, right now as it currently sits, 4. Not 1 or 2 or 3, but 4.
4!
That is big-time currency. And I'm telling you, just ride it out this year. Be patient because this draft and this deadline is going to be active for this team.
Yep, totally agree. Huge breaking news, by the way, right now on the show. The Super Soaker is in. Look at that. Tanner Plummer has become a member of the Monty Show exclusive group. How about that, man?
Appreciate you, Tanner.
So now, what does Tanner get along with all of our other members on the show? Tanner gets exclusive videos every day. Tanner gets exclusive information and access to our Instagram members only group. Tanner also gets access to our merch first at a discount. Tanner gets 5-to-1 entries into every contest. He knows about the contest first. We're going to do exclusive giveaways only for our members. By the way, this is something we probably need to talk about on the show. Did anybody see what Sony announced yesterday? Mm-hmm. What did Sony announce yesterday? Jake texted me.
The supply chain is over.
Jake texts me furiously. Bro. Hey, fat ass, wake up. Fatty, stop. Put down the wings. Hey, fat ass, put down the wings. The supply chain is no longer a problem. Sony's got PS5s, and they say that they're going to be able to regularly produce them because the supply chain's over. Does that mean we need to give away another PS5 on the program?
Members only.
We built this show through PS5s. You know what I'm saying?
We built this program on NIL.
We are going to give away a PS5 to our exclusive membership group. So,
which right now, just want to point this out, which right now is about 20 people. So your odds of winning the PS5 are pretty damn good if you're doing 20-1 odds versus 9,000-1 odds.
I look at the member group.
Just telling you.
Right now, and we rolled this out. Yesterday was our first day. We're at 22 members now.
So 22-1 odds to win a PS5.
That's pretty good. That is pretty good. So Tanner Plummer, welcome to the exclusive group. We've always known that, you know what, man? You're what's right with this show, Tanner.
I agree.
Tanner's one of our favorite listeners.
Long time.
Yeah, absolutely. Tanner's one of our favorite listeners. Long-time listener of the show. Really just a terribly addicted Philadelphia Eagles fan, and we try to work with him, to get him off the Eagles and make him a righteous Chicago Bears fan. But the addiction is deep in this one.
Y'all feel me?
And it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
What are the people saying?
The people are excited. Look at that. Look at Jeremy Bolton, the mayor of Montytown, also a member of the exclusive Monty Show group. He says, guys. Tanner's in.
Yeah.
Damn right.
Let's go.
Tanner is in. Damn right. Let's see. Jeremy Bolton also says, honestly, I think VW is going to be a bust. Dude is way too skinny. I'm not the guy that wants to F around and find out.
Yeah. No,
I'm not that guy.
I'm good.
I don't want to be the guy that finds out. Salty Drunk says, what? Tanner doesn't get is any less bullying, LOL. Tanner doesn't get less bullying, apparently. Jeremy Bolton says, Tanner also gets exclusive videos from Draper Moms. I think Teddy Wayman and I may have had a conversation about this. I'm telling you, and this is what I can't get Jake to understand. When you're single and you're in the greater Draper area, I'm telling you, there are cougars hunting you everywhere.
Right.
I mean, they are tailgating you. Then you later that night tailgate them.
God, just like that.
It is what is good about life. It is what it's good. Christopher Shannon, does OnlyFans to Monty come included? You don't want that. You don't want that. Pied Piper, can we kick people out of the exclusive group? Is that possible? Can we ban people from the exclusive group?
Well, we did ban duck season yesterday.
Yes, we did. Pied Piper would like us to ban him. He's asking to be banned.
I think it literally says, I think this literally says, if I'm reading this right, it says, I literally would like to be banned.
Yeah, which is Latin for thoughts on Chelsea moving down to 10th yesterday. Well, Potter's not that guy.
Right.
And it's January. Get to work.
Right.
Like, it'd be nice if you go buy a guy or 7.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Maybe you could go get Berhalter to run your team.
Okay, shut your mouth, number one.
Whatever.
Just go get me Enzo. Make the Enzo deal happen. Make the Enzo deal happen.
Maybe you could go and get Gio Reyna. What? I thought he was a great player.
I'm going to punch you in the face.
Let's settle this right now.
I'm going to punch you in the face. Teddy Wayman says, don't give the PS5 to Growcock. Well, I can tell you, I'm not giving it to Pied Piper now that he's cracking my Chelsea football club.
Donnie, you're out of your element.
You know.
No, but I'm being serious. I'm being serious, though. All jokes aside. This is what happens. When we get people paying to be in a membership, they're going to get benefits, you know?
Eric and Rowley says, rig it OG for the PS5.
Hey.
Okay. Jeremy Bolton says, facts, Teddy Wayman.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't give me. How much of a legend is Growcock?
Legend, dude. Came in, rigged the voting machines, stole the vote, and now he's a winner.
I love it. Raptor88, who is also a member of our fine program, says, I play on PC but would never turn down a PS5. What did Tyler P said, I only play on PC.
Well, that's because you don't have a PS5.
Right. If you had a PS5, would you? You know. Fat Jesus says, what kind of exclusive group has Tanner as a member? Love you, Tanner. Wow.
Fat Jesus, you got to get in on this, bro.
Let's go. You're outside looking in. Jeremy Bolton says, I'll change my name to Growcock if it means I can sway the vote to get my PS5. Let's see. Christopher Shannon says Chelsea will sign the newest youngster for $85 million, then sell him 4 years later for $50. No, they won't. What they'll do is they'll sign him for $185 million and then immediately loan him out every year for the rest of his career until they sell him to Benfica, and then nobody ever hears from him. But we paid him $85 million pounds a year. Jerk. Jeremy Bolton also says, I'm a desperate fool at the end of his rope. Desperate times ask for desperate measures.
Well,
okay. Caleb Harrison says the Monty show equals growth. Yeah, what are we at for subs on this show now?
I don't know. Let's take a look.
We're trying to get to 10,000, which is why we probably should have announced we're doing it. It don't matter. We are at 9133.
Okay.
Hey, let's rock and roll. 9,133 subs. Really appreciate you guys. Let's see. No, Caleb.
Hey, bro,
okay,
dude, come on, man. What is your affliction with red things? You like Pep, you like United.
No, he likes the Detroit Red Wings.
The Red Wings, the Pistons.
This is, but again,
come on.
Stop. Will you have some empathy? He likes Detroit style pizza. How can he be sane? Guy, just
sorry. Yeah, it's
give
probably
him a
not
break.
fair. Yeah.
Detroit style pizza.
Now, if you join the group, I'll eat pepperoni pizza with you.
Yeah. No, I won't. That's a lie. No. I'll never eat pepperoni. Wait, Tanner joins and then no shows in the comments?
Tanner?
It is what it is. All right, 732. Do you like Talon Horton Tucker on this team? Let's talk about Talon Horton Tucker, because I actually think that this is one of those things where I think this is a tough question for a lot of people. And I don't necessarily know that there's a consensus on THT. I think a lot of people on Twitter last night were excited to see THT back on the floor. It's been 2 weeks. He hadn't played since December 22nd.
Right.
It's been 2 weeks since Homie played. And I think it's pretty clear they got him back on the floor because they want to move him.
Right.
So the question is, are you THT or not THT?
Well, I'm not THT on this team. I think he hasn't represented himself really well, if I'm being honest. I think he has missed quite a bit of opportunities because the shot selection wasn't great and because he just wasn't playing good basketball. And I think, Talon Horton Tucker is somebody that has trade value and I think would fit in nicely in a secondary role where there was an actual star on the team. That's why he did well playing with LeBron, in my opinion, because he didn't need to score, but the 15 points or the 20 points on a bigger night that he provided pushed them over the top. And I think on this team, because it's a young team and a not good team, the expectation is, you'll put up 20 every night. And he's not that guy yet.
Right,
that said, I think that's within his game by a lot. And that's why I think he's got trade value, because people see, this guy just isn't getting a ton of opportunity right now. But if we're some team that needs him, hey, we'll put him out there for 25 minutes a night, and let's see what the guy can do. We'll give him an extended run. Let's see what he can do. So to me, that's why like last night, you saw the Talon Horton Tucker show.
Yeah, and I think it was worthy of it. Hey, let's go. McKinley Cutler, you're in the group now.
Look
Look at that. Let's go. McKinley Cutler is a member of our exclusive Monty Show group here on the show. Thank you, McKinley. We appreciate you joining our membership thing. BB says, how much is the YouTube member thing?
It's $10.
Okay, it's $10.
It's $10 a month. And basically the reason you want to be in this group is on the day-to-day, the impact it has. Like yesterday, as an example, the member group got our sourced information on this Jazz trade and this Jazz situation and what they're doing. And we put out an actual video. We uploaded a video on the channel that only the member group can see. Going forward, future-wise, things like PS5 giveaways, things like merch drops, things like that. Like
Jazz tickets, football tickets.
Stuff like that we give away. The member group is either going to be the only ones that have access to it, or they're going to get a head start on everybody else, depending on the giveaway and the situation and what we're doing with it. So like I was saying, like the PS5 is a great example. There's 24 people in that group now. You have 24-1 odds to win a PS5 for free. That's a lot better than 91-36-1 odds. So that is the perk of the member group.
Yep, and we'll do a video. Here's what I'll promise you. I got to get a PS5 first.
Yeah, we have to secure one.
As soon as we get a PS5, we're going to do a video. We're not going to tell you guys when the giveaway is going to be.
Nope.
But as soon as we can get a PS5, we're going to do a video doing the drawing. And we're going to draw the winner on the video. And then we're going to post that video in the exclusive member group. And only members of that group will have a chance to win that drawing. So it might be a week. It might be today. It could be a week from today.
Right.
As soon as we get that PS5, we're going to give it away in the exclusive membership group. And if you're a member, you'll have a shot. If not, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So McKinley Cutler now has a chance to win it. So good job. On THT, Brett Stubbs says, when he plays hard, yes. Exactly right. BB says, I actually like THT. We just look good with him on the floor. I like that he brings a physical presence. I do like that. I like that he is a guy that can get JC off the ball. Yeah. I like that a lot because I'm a big fan of Jordan Clarkson when he's not on the ball. Make him run a route, get him the ball in space where he's moving, because I think Jordan Clarkson's best use offensively is absolutely the three-point shot on the run, coming off of a screen. I love those baseline screens where he runs the baseline, comes up, they shoot him the ball at the elbow. Or those, the other thing that I think THT does so well, I love those paint screens where he's in the paint, he pivots and sets a screen to free Jordan Clarkson to get to the elbow. I like THT. He's got usage. But if his $10 million salary finishes off a John Collins trade, I'm all here for that.
Right.
If that gives the Utah Jazz a 4th pick in the first round, I'm all here for that.
Yep.
And because I do think that this upcoming draft is 40 guys deep. I think it's 40 players deep of legit contributors, top 7 contributors in the NBA. I think you got 30 to 40 of those guys.
Yeah.
And if I can package 2 of those first-round picks to get Scoot Henderson, I'm all here for that.
Yeah.
If it means 2 this year and 1 next year in a pick swap and I get Scoot Henderson, I'm here for that. So I think THT has a lot of value. Sean Carden says, trade JC, who is on the wrong side of 30 and gets more potential value. But for what? That's the question, because I think that the market for Jordan Clarkson is very interesting. And again, I was talking to one of my NBA guys yesterday about this. I think the market for Jordan Clarkson really is 2 teams. I think it's the LA Lakers, and I think it is the Miami Heat. I think those 2 teams have voiced the most desire to add Jordan Clarkson. The problem is the Heat don't want to trade Tyler Hero right now, and Tyler Hero and Jordan Clarkson are very similar players, and the Jazz are not going to take Duncan Robinson back in a deal. They're not doing that. So when I look at Jordan Clarkson, I do think there are other teams. I think the Lakers by far would love to get their hands on Jordan Clarkson and or Malik Beasley. I think the New York Knicks, would love to get Jordan Clarkson on their roster. I think those are the 2 most likely dance partners. But again, how damaged is the relationship between Danny Ainge and Leon Rose, the boss of the Knicks? I think that's a real question because they absolutely got kicked in the cojones over the Donovan Mitchell deal.
Yeah.
There are some salty folks about that Donovan Mitchell deal going to Cleveland, not New York.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, again, I think Danny Ainge really, really dodged a bullet there because Grimes has just not been a factor at all. RJ Barrett's having a not great season.
The Grimes thing, though, not that I disagree that he hasn't been a factor, but my only question for Grimes is, would he be a factor in another organization? That's what I wonder. Like, is he not a factor because the Knicks are the Knicks?
I don't think that's the case this year. I actually, and this is an interesting question.
Yeah.
Are the Knicks a team that's one trade from a legitimate run at the top of the Eastern Conference? I don't think they are. I think the guys on that roster that I think are truly difference makers are very few. Very few. If I'm the Knicks, like I look at Quentin Grimes. Quentin Grimes is averaging 36 minutes his last 10 games. He's back, dude. But what's he averaging point-wise? 14 points. He's shooting 37% from 3. Is that a guy that tops off a Donovan Mitchell trade? Is that a guy that you should have kept instead of making the Donovan Mitchell trade? No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
At all. And when I look at this Knicks roster, and this is, in my opinion, I think this is a huge, huge conversation in the NBA. When I look at this Knicks roster and I see the guys that are legitimately playing minutes for them and guys that are legitimately playing games for them, Julius Randle is a guy now that you've got to keep. I mean, that dude's putting up 24 points a night, and he's a great teammate right now. He's giving you 10. He's average. You guys understand that Julius Randle's averaging 24 and 10. That's unbelievable. 4 dimes to go with that. You can't trade Julius Randle. You can't trade him now. I look at a guy like an Emmanuel Quickly. I'm probably trading Emmanuel quickly. I am. Another guy that the Jazz valued in a Donovan Mitchell trade that the Knicks didn't want to include.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to figure something out.
But for what now? Because now you're going to trade him anyway. So you should have traded him for Don. I think they'd be a top 3 team in the East today if they'd have made that Donovan Mitchell trade.
But the problem is that Darius Garland is way more imaginative than any of the secondary players on the Knicks. Like the problem is that.
But think Jalen Brunson's your secondary player on the Knicks.
Well, no, but here's the deal though. They signed Jalen Brunson to be the guy, in my opinion. Like you signed him because he was going to come in, be this dominant point guard, be this guy that gave you 20 a night, gave you 10 a night. Like that's what you wanted him to be.
How much does Luka Doncic miss Jalen Brunson?
I think a lot. I think that it's Luka and everybody else. And it's incredible to me. Don't even get me started on this Luka thing. The stat came out the other day that he leads the league with like 90 step back 3-point makes. I'm so sick and tired of people not adjusting defensively to Luka Doncic. I'm not sitting here saying that you're going to stop him or you're going to prevent 40 points a night or you're going to stop him from being the guy that he is. There's only so much you can do. But I know for a fact that the NBA has the athletes for coaches to say, hey, tonight you're going to guard Luka, and all I want you to care about is taking away the step back 3.
Yes.
That's it. If he goes by you, great. We'll live with that. We will worry about that later. And if he goes by you and he kicks to Hardaway in the corner and Hardaway makes it, we're good with that. I'm not letting Luka Doncic hit 10 step back 3s tonight. It's not happening.
Well, but I also think when you look around this league, I think Luka Doncic is one of the special players in this league. I can't stand the guy, but he's damn good.
Yeah.
He misses Jalen Brunson because Jalen provided him space. He misses Jalen Brunson because Jalen gives him possessions off. If you put Donovan Mitchell in that New York Knicks lineup, Jalen Brunson's going to give him possessions off.
Yep.
Jalen Brunson can adjust. I think Donovan Mitchell and Jalen Brunson would be a lovely undersized backcourt. Mm-hmm. I do. Donovan Mitchell, again, I think is an MVP candidate. I think Donnie's going to average 30 points a game. I think Donovan Mitchell's that guy you can count on. I think Leon Rose made a massive mistake not trading for Donovan Mitchell. I do. I think it is one of the worst decisions of the summer to date. Outside, and listen, I don't know. Is the Rudy Gobert trade worse than the Knicks not making a trade? It probably is, frankly. But
yeah.
The Knicks, I think the Knicks were one of the losers of the summer window because they didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And I just, that trade is going to come back to haunt them. And I understand, look, guys, I know I'm way over the top on Donovan Mitchell. I love the kid. I think he's a great player. I can't wait to see him Tuesday when we're going to the game with Austin Napierski. I can't wait to see it. You know, I have a lot of respect for the guy.
Yeah.
Let's see. Brother says, as a Knicks fan, I really don't like the trade Cam Reddish to take any team, but trade IQ has got to lose any defense. Until we got JB with no second-round pick, who we trade with? Well, listen, I think that's part of the issue is that the Knicks didn't want to leverage their future draft capital.
Yeah.
But you're a player. If you had Donovan Mitchell, Julius Randle, and Jalen Brunson, good God, man, I think you are right there with Brooklyn.
Well,
I think you're a slot under Boston.
The Knicks don't want to, listen, the NBA is all about, hey, we're giving away our future for the now. Right? Think about it. That's what the NBA is. You're leveraging your future capital to become a good team now. That is the nature of the beast. There is no other way. That is the way. So to me, it feels like Leon and company didn't believe enough in Donovan Mitchell to make that deal because you didn't want to give up Grimes. You didn't want to give up quickly, which is incredible to me. Absolutely incredible.
How, and I'm not saying this is going to sound really self-serving, so just know that. How in the F do I know he's going to score 30 points a game, Donovan Mitchell, and the Knicks didn't think he would?
Yeah, because you know what I think happens?
That's crazy.
You know what I think happens? I think GMs sit at their desk. I think they sit at their desk, they open up the stat portal, and they look at stats, and they look at charts, and they look at numbers, and they look at analytics.
We got to stop stats.
And they're like, oh, dude has this number or that number? dude was hurt this many times or that many times, that means he's not going to play. I think we have to stop doing that, and you have to start putting more weight on the eye test. Hey, what would it look like if Donovan Mitchell was in another system with better players? Would he be hurt as much? Probably not, because he doesn't have to work as much. Would he put up more big nights? Yeah, probably, because he's more rested.
Who is the best example of this conversation? Rudy Gobert. Mm-hmm. What does Rudy Gobert look like on our team? Well, he looks like a guy who gets played off the floor in the fourth quarter. But our trash is somebody else's treasure, and the Minnesota Timberwolves valued him at $41 million a year.
And if you're Danny, right, you're using the stat sheet to your advantage. You're like, hey, boys, this is a 25 and 10 guy.
Real quick. Breaking news on DeMar Hamlin. The breathing tube has been removed from DeMar Hamlin as of this morning, and he's begun talking to Buffalo Bills teammates again. Hamlin has had the breathing tube in his body from almost the minute that he was rolled onto the ambulance. No longer needs it, can breathe fully on his own.
Wow.
That's incredible. You put this story just keeps on, man. Like, I can't even imagine what his family is feeling today. I can't even imagine it. Wow, what a great story. So the best possible outcome, it seems like, and if you didn't hear yesterday, DeMar Hamlin woke up and was writing people notes. And his first question is, did we win the game? The guy is good to go. And he's got a long road in front of him. I get it. He's going to have to rehab. I'm just so thrilled that his brain is intact. Like, that's such a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes me emotional. Like, I'm so happy for that cat. I am so happy for that cat. Like, it is, man, I just, God damn, that he's back like that. Ooh, that would be amazing. Tanner, who's a member of the show, says, yes, way to go, DeMar. The human body is simply amazing. Is it not?
It really is.
My God.
It really is.
Is it not?
Yeah.
Talking with Raphael podcast says, let's go, DeMar. NY Monty fan says, love this show. The holiday hiatus was too long. It felt long.
Yeah.
It felt long. All right. Talking NBA this morning, talking about Jazz trades, NBA trades. Oh, Salty Drunk. Absolutely right. Paolo Banchero from Orlando surely wins the Rookie of the Year. That dude's a monster.
Yep.
Posterizing
guys.
He's a stud. He is absolutely a stud.
This is what I said. Guy's got an NBA body. Why is he playing so well? Because he has an NBA body. I think he's 6'9", 240-ish. Like, he is built enough in his body to absorb contact and take the beating in the NBA, but he's not so built that he can't operate and can't run and can't do what he needs to do. And that's the happy medium you have to find. And that's, again, why I struggle with the VW concept, why I struggled with Zion. Because guys who are too far one way or the other don't make it in the league. You have to fit into a certain, I'm not going to say rubric, but a general field, right? Like, everybody's body's different, but you got to be able to move and operate if you're going to play in the league.
Man, I just look at the argument that was the argument that was Chet or Banchero. And I'm so glad I picked Banchero.
Yeah, I mean, Banchero, Chet hasn't played an NBA game. I don't think.
No, he hasn't. We had epic fights on this show about Paolo Banchero versus Chet Holmgren. And I know you hung Chet nudes in your bathroom, and I'm okay with that, man. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you.
Oh, my God, just like that. Oh.
Paolo Banchero's a stud. And then you start looking at the other guys, like Chet Holmgren hasn't played. Jabari Smith scored 3 points last night, averaging like 16, though. Keegan Murray, stud. Jaden Ivey, stud. Morthrin for Indiana, stud. I look at Shaden Sharp. We'll find out. He's in the dunk contest, by the way. But this has been a really good first round, I think.
Yeah.
If you look at where these guys are now, there's some real players in this league. And Jalen Duren, that's a guy that can play. You know, like you look at some of these guys and you look at some of the names. Walker Kessler. That kid at 22, that kid can really play.
Good pick.
He can really play, right? Like, I mean, you look at some of the names here. I don't think there's any doubt that this draft will always be defined by Chet Holmgren. And I don't think there's any doubt that if you look at some of the other names and you look at some of the other guys, I don't think there's any doubt that Paolo Banchero is the best player in this draft right now.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure, Salty Drunk, that there's an argument to be had with you. I think he certainly is. Mike Maple says, good morning, fellas. Part of me wonders if the team pushed Lauri to get 49 or higher because of the 71-point game from Donnie.
No, I think it has nothing to do with that. I think that it is all to do, like when you're playing out there, you're not thinking about Donovan Mitchell, man. You're not. You're thinking about, hey, Lauri's got the hot hand. Let's feed him. Yeah. And let's see how far it can go.
NY Monty fan says, you and me both, Monty, hate Luka, but he gets buckets. Yes, he does. Jeremy Bolton, the mayor, says, LOL, Knicks. I mean, would we expect anything less from the Knicks? No. And I think
the Knicks are really good at nicking.
They are. It's just, I mean, it's incredible. It is incredible to me that they didn't make that trade. Especially now. And again, not to be redundant, but this is why I hate stats. We try to apply statistics to everything. And it's like, okay, like with Donovan Mitchell, hey, he's going to score 30 points a game. That's not a definition of him. That's a definition of his growth, right? Like that, hey, 30 points a game shows tremendous growth, or 3-point. But we try to define people by statistics, and we got to stop doing that.
Well, look at what Kenny Scott said in the interview yesterday in the show. He talked about this. It's situational. Like,
yes.
He brought up Solomon Enes. He said, hey, in Utah's system, Solomon's not going to be some superstar. But you put him, like, I think the example he used was if you put him in Arizona's offense, he's probably a 1,500-yard wide receiver a season.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying, like, yes, it's not all the system. You still got to make the shot. You still got to catch the ball. You still got to throw the ball. Like, you still got to do the actual act, but the system provides more opportunity. Now, if you waste that opportunity and you're 28% from three, yeah, you're not Donovan Mitchell anymore, are you? Right? You're not some big-time wide receiver, are you?
Totally agree.
But if you get those opportunities and you catch the football and you make the shot and you go to the playoffs, yeah, you're Donovan Mitchell. So with Cleveland, the point I'm making is Don is taking those opportunities. And we asked the question earlier, how good can Lauri be? Well, does he ever get to play with better players? I think he plays better.
Certainly. I think you're spot on with that. Brett Stubbs, good morning, Brett. He says the stat you don't see is that Donnie wants to win so bad, and he did a ton of that for us. And he did. And the other thing you don't see is, well, how do we put statistics on his motor? The guy works his ass off over the summer every year, and he comes back with a deeper, better bag. What I meant. So to define the bag, well, I don't want to talk about another man's. Anyway, he comes back a better player. Let me just leave it at that. Samuel Lott says, imagine Donnie, Markkanen, and Gobert under Hardy this year. Wowzer.
It's just not possible.
I just go back and say that Rudy Gobert's not a championship player. And I know that this has been a heated debate on this show, but when you build teams around Rudy Gobert, you're not going to win rings because he's just not that dude, bro. He's not. And I think Lauri Markkanen wouldn't be here if Don was here.
Yeah.
Like he just wouldn't be here. So I don't know. I don't. Yeah. Imagine Mike. Never. Nope, not doing it. NY Monty fan says the East Coast Minnesota Go-Birds are right where they should be. The fringe playoff team.
Yep.
Can't argue with that. Mike Maples, can you imagine if he took the field again? Oh, you're talking about tomorrow. Don't think he should, but it would be a Hollywood movie ending. They say that there's a good chance he can play again if neurologically he was intact, and he is, because the incident that happened with his heart is a once in a trillion beat thing. Like, I mean, I'm not a doctor. Salty always gets upset when I talk about this stuff, but his heartbeat. Your heartbeat goes through a beginning, a middle phase, and then an end phase. That end phase is where you're vulnerable because everything's kind of, your heart beats, squeezes, and then it relaxes. And when you're in that downbeat and it's relaxing and you get hit, that's when your heart stops. If somebody hits you in the chest, punches you in the right place at the exact millisecond, that's when you get into trouble like he got into.
Yeah.
And it happened to Chris Pronger in the NHL. He came back and was fabulous. And the one thing that I would say, what are they crediting for DeMar Hamlin's recovery?
The response.
That assistant trainer sprinted off the Bills' sideline and immediately started CPR on him. immediately knew they were in trouble. And the radio traffic signaled immediately that he was in trouble. And they responded very quickly. And they shocked him very quickly. And they really started working on him. It took them 16 minutes to stabilize Damar Hamlin enough to get him in the ambulance. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, it is just, it's unbelievable. Josh Lovren says Seattle owns Paulo. Okay. So Seattle's own Paulo. Let's go. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Roger Sales says, so DeMar expected the game to continue. Didn't anyone ever ask what would DeMar want us to do last Monday? They should not have continued that game.
Yeah, I mean, is that what you're suggesting?
There's just nothing to talk about.
I'm not trying to
there.
speak for you, but that seems to be what you're suggesting.
Yep. I know it's already been talked about, but hopefully the NFL looks at their health care procedures and changes it ASAP. DeMar could be paying doctor bills for years. Well, he's not, though, because they cover him. And, I mean, the real question here on Football 50 at 57 past the hour here on the Monty Show, the real question is what technology will change because of what happened to Damar Hamlin.
Yeah.
And I think that you're going to see receivers and DBs get different padding. You're going to see that shoulder pads will evolve now. And they probably should, because you have to prevent this from ever even being a possibility. Ever being a possibility. Mike Maples says DeMar shouldn't pay a single bill. They won't pay a single bill. This was talked about already. VW is a walking injury. Lottery bust is more likely than anything for him. Not hating, just logical facts. No, I agree with that. I agree with that. I think he's an injury. He's absolutely an injury. New York Monty fan says the DeMar situation heavily scared the NFL. With concussions and now this, it will have a huge impact on the NFL's bottom line. Do you think so, though? I think what this showed is the NFL has substantial global reach.